Hey, Caden, I'm Cindy.
And I'm KGC.
And guess what?
What's that?
It's Thursday!
So what does that mean?
Another time for another great podcast courtesy of
KGC and Cindy.
That's right. Welcome to another great Thursday. Get prepared because it is another great topic day full of amazing topics like
Country music and mental health.
and everything entertainment and in between. Let's get started. Mr. Ernie Halter. Oh my goodness, I am so excited. It's so good to have you with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no, it's an honor. It's an honor. Made sure to do everything to make you feel welcome. I've got your picture behind us, as you can tell. It's not Thursday, but this is our podcast, and my co-host is not able to make it today. It turned out he was really, really sick. So we're going to do this one, and I'm excited. I really, really am. I'm from Ontario, Canada, by the way.
I saw that,
so
yeah.
we're in like two different countries.
I see the maple leaf on your profile pic.
Yes. Got to represent, right?
Yeah.
So first thing, I thought it was so sweet to hear about your family, and you sound like such an amazing dad. Tell me a little bit about your family.
Well, I've got my wife and I have twin girls. They are 11, going to be 12. And then I have a son. He's 15, about to be 16 in October. It's not that close, but when you have a 15-year-old that's about to turn 16, you count in weeks and days. You count months time. So yeah, they're just balls of energy and delightful weirdos.
And the whole idea of dating as they get older. Uh-oh.
Well, Charles Barkley once said this, and I think it's a great quote. Someone asked him about his daughter dating, and he said, he was talking about boys coming by the house, and he said, well, once you kill the first one, the word sort of gets around. So I just need to kill one, maybe two. Then I think it'll be fine. I don't need to kill a whole lot of people, just a couple. Maybe not even kill them, just hurt them.
Do you feel like it's different with a son compared to your girls? Like, are you more worried about when your girls at that age?
I worry about them equally, but for different reasons. I think it's obvious the reasons you would worry as a dad of daughters. I don't know. I think there's the challenges that boys and girls face are equally, well, I wouldn't say equally, but I would say they are challenging in their own ways. I worry about my son, just like, I say this lovingly about boys because I am one, that the brain is not fully developed until I think you're in your 20s, and even then that's questionable for some people. Like, he's very bright, a very kind, but he's just, he's a 15-year-old boy. And when I was a 15-year-old boy, God knows I was a mess in more ways than he is. He's not a mess. What am I saying? I just, he's going to drive soon, and that freaks me out. And it just, for no other reason other than he's my kid and I'm his dad. And, you just worry. You worry about them making good choices, and just, this comes to the point where you've made your decisions as a parent, and you hope that you've set a good example and you've taught them well. And, at some point you have to just trust that they're going to do the right things.
Right.
Because you can't be with them every second of the day. My girls, I worry more about other people than I worry about them. I think girls are just a little bit more mature in general as they grow up. They're just, they're rock stars. They're resilient and kind and good students and creative and full of energy. Just all the things. All of the kids are. They're incredible.
Well, I'm not surprised to hear that because in what I do know of you in the time that I've followed you, they've got a good dad to look up to and all that.
Well,
Are any of them showing any musical?
yeah. So my son Jackson, he likes music, and I think he's good at it. He plays in the band. He plays French horn in the band, and he'll like mess around with keyboard. And he just got an electric guitar, and he's like, uh, playing Jimi Hendrix and trying to like learn songs and stuff. So
Jimi Hendrix.
yeah, he
Wow.
likes it. He's really into sports. So I think that's always his main thing. I don't think music will ever reach the level that athletics has for him, which is something that I never had growing up. Uh, was not great at sports, and I barely understand how it works now. I don't follow any teams or anything that's going on, but and then my girls, they are probably a little bit more involved in music. Um, Layla, she's the oldest by like 2 minutes. She loves to sing and she plays the ukulele and she'll like sit there and I've taught them a lot of stuff, but
Hey.
I've tried to teach them to teach themselves. And so they're at the point now where she'll just go and she'll find chords to a song and something that she's listening to, and she'll figure out
Wow.
the chords and sing it. She'll be like, "Look, Daddy, I learned the song," and but then she'll set it down and she won't mess with it for a while. So it's kind of, they do it as they feel like it. They're not obligated, and I never want them to feel obligated to do music. And then Lucy, she's also really into music. I think probably the most out of any of them. I
Wow.
sat down, both of my kids, my daughters, I would sit them down to like teach them music like a game. I never really
Right.
made a lesson, but we would just play like we'd make a little game out of it, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And over time, that 5 minutes, 10 minutes starts to add up. And even though Layla doesn't really like to sit and play piano, she doesn't really like me teaching her as much. She's kind of more resistant to it. She kind of wants to do more of it on her own. Lucy will sit down with the piano and she'll let me show her some things, but then there's a limit to that too. And she's like, "All right, you got to stop and let me explore a little bit with
Oh,
what you've given me." But I'm teaching her something called the Nashville number system, which is it's how do I explain this in the easiest way? Imagine that instead of notes, um, having names, or how do I? This is like, I'm gonna try to condense this. Imagine music as colors instead of sounds, and you have a
ooh,
color palette. And let's say your color palette is 7 notes or 7 colors, right? And those 7 colors go well together, and there are 11 possible colors, and those other 4 notes don't go well together. And so you number those colors. This is not going well. I'm trying to think of like the
wow.
easiest way to
No,
put this,
I'm
but
I'm fascinated. This is so true.
essentially, like, most songs have the same chords. They might be in different keys, so the chords are relative to one another, but there's like, I could say, Lucy, play me a 1 chord. If we're in the key of C, I'm just giving her the starting pitch, the starting note,
Okay.
the home note. I can say, play me the 1 chord, play me the 4 chord, play me the 6 chord. Okay, now we're in the key of F. Play me the 1 chord. And so these most songs that we hear, they use the same chords. They might be in different keys, depending on where someone wants to sing a song, but the relationship those chords have to one another, they're all the same. There's like a lot of patterns. So I'm teaching her the theory behind it. That was really poor explanation, but I'm teaching her the theory. I'm
Wow.
teaching her the why and the how. Whereas when I was learning piano and I was taking lessons, I was learning just the what. This is what you're going to play. This is what it's on the page. You're going to play that note for note. And every now and then you might get a lesson about a little bit of theory. But for me, when I teach them, it's all theory. And then what they do with that is completely up to them. That was
Oh,
a
that's
long.
incredible. Because learning theory, not everybody has, that inkling to be able to learn the actual, like even reading music and stuff like that. Like, um,
Right. Well, theory
oh,
and
that's
reading music,
amazing.
she's not. I'll be honest. I'm not great at reading sheet music note for note. If I was to sit down on the piano and play something, I would probably struggle with it. But if you give me chords and you say play a C minor 7 chord, I could easily play that in many different formats all over the piano, depending on what I feel like or what chord came before it, the context of it. But I can play that all day long, kind of like a lead sheet, that shorthand. And I'm teaching them how to construct something. It's like building a house, right? I could give you the exact blueprints and teach you exactly how to cut each board and nail each board and put together that house. Or I could teach you about architecture and about engineering and structure. And then I can give you the tools and say, now I want you to create something with it. And I'm basically giving them the tools to understand how the house is built rather than telling them how to build it, how to put each note one after the other. I'm just giving them the basis of it. And I think even though it sounds harder, I think it's actually easier to learn that way because you're not confined by what someone else wrote. You're able to just it's more explorative. It's more fun to sit there and just make music. I mean, she can go like, oh, I thought of this song and I started playing it. She can play by ear better and all the things that comes it's a lot more difficult for even for some professional musicians. It's coming easier to her because she never had to really be confined. And same with Layla, although not so much on the theory side, but she wants to basically explore and take what I've taught her and then stop me and then continue on her own and explore, use the tools that I've given them and then see what kind of things they can make with them, which is really what it's all about.
That also means she's already got an ear, which not everybody has. So that's,
Yeah, they've got
that's
great ears.
fantastic.
I mean, I kind of just did it as a joke in a way. I mean, when they were babies, they would sing these songs, they were like 2 or 3, and they would just sing songs that they would hear on TV and cartoons. And I would just be like, that's sharp, that's flat. Here's the note that I want you to sing. Can you sing this note? And then, probably their earliest memory, definitely my earliest memory of teaching the music was going to a note on the piano, playing it, and seeing if they could match that pitch. And at first they couldn't. They were terrible at it. But I would say, can you sing this note? And they'd be like, this one, this note. I'd be like, no. Can you sing this note? And then we get closer and it'd be like, that's a little sharp. That's not up here. It's down here. It's not down here. It's up here. And so eventually they would be able to match the pitch. And we just played that game for a long time. And now they're,
so
11, 12, their pitch is really, really exceptional. Their pitch is probably better than mine, honestly. They don't,
oh my God.
They don't waver. So that was pretty nice to see that happen.
Tell me about when you first got the musical bug. When did that first hit you? How old were you about?
I mean, I always liked music and I always felt like I was okay. Like I was probably had an aptitude for it. And we had a piano in the house that my mom had bought when she was a single mom, before I was born. She had my brothers. And so she was, she always wanted to learn how to play. So she had saved up and put a Wurlitzer Spinet console piano. So I grew up with that in the house. And I remember just going and banging on the keys. And, eventually I would start to like play individual notes and try to make melodies or play what I was hearing. And it wasn't until I was about 8, she forced me into piano lessons, which I didn't want to do. I thought this is not something I don't want to have to practice and learn scales and all that kind of stuff. And for years I said, you got to let me quit. I'm never going to use this information in my life. This is really pointless.
Shocker.
Right. Yeah. And I think I took it for about 3 or 4 years and let me quit. And after I quit, I didn't touch the piano for probably 6 months. And I started kind of coming back to it and just poking around and just exploring, just having fun. I wasn't playing Bach or Beethoven or anything. I was just sitting and seeing what sounds I could make. And then I started learning how to read chords. Because guitar players do that. They'll be like, this is an A chord, this is an E chord, and so forth. And there's different shapes, different ways to play an A chord, different ways to play an E chord. So I thought there's got to be a way to do that on piano. So I started learning how to build chords on the piano the way a guitar player would learn how to build chords on a guitar. And once I could do that, then I could, play Beatles songs and play Whitney Houston or whatever I was listening to at the time. I would sit and play. I'd play the sheet music, but I was just reading the chords. And so that was I was probably about, I don't know, 13, 14, 15. By the time I was 15, I was writing songs, I was singing. I never did choir or, I did band, but never really thought of it as a career until I was about 15. By the time I was 16, 17, I thought I think this might be what I want to do. And I went to a summer camp for musicians. It was put on by Berklee School of Music in Boston.
No
and
kidding.
It's a week-long program. And I remember just being surrounded by other weirdos like me, that were into music and obsessive about it. And because at that time, when I was 15 and a half, I wasn't, driving. So I was sitting in my room all day long playing guitar. We didn't have the internet. So I was just learning from books and listening to records and stuff. And I just did that all day, every day. So by the time I went to the Berklee summer program, I was obsessive about music and felt kind of outcasted from, there were other musicians in my school, but I don't know if I really connected with a lot of them. We'd have a garage band, friends that would play drums or friends that would play bass, but I would want to tune before we played. And that was, no one wanted the time to do that. So it was really nice to be surrounded by other musicians that I related to. And that was the moment I was like, this is it for me. These are my people. And this is what I want to do forever. And I really haven't looked back. I went to Berklee. I went 2 years only, but I went there and just kind of hit the ground running after that, and have been doing it ever since.
Oh my goodness. Well, just when you talk about music, your face just lights up. So you're definitely absolutely, that's what you were meant to do. And it's a beautiful thing. I wanted to kind of touch on a couple of things.
Sure.
Your song from General Hospital, when that got added to General Hospital, which was a big Spinelli and Maxi song.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Because I'll tell you what, that was one of my big introductions to you. Nice. That I was just like, because right away, as soon as I started to hear it and it was playing in the background, and I'm one of these people being a DJ that I was like, who the heck is that?
It's always fun to me.
I'm plugging away trying to find the song, and I couldn't. And I'm like, so tell me about that.
So it's always fun to see, how people find me. There's, as a musician, especially a independent musician like myself, you have all these little opportunities, and it might be a song that gets placed on a film or a television show, or it might be, something on the internet, a video that someone posted and someone found you through that, or MySpace or whatever back in the day. But this particular opportunity, I was in LA. I was writing with this woman named Eve Nelson, who's fantastic, and she's always been a rock star, but since then she's even just become more of an icon in the business. All the those live action musicals. I think they did Little Mermaid recently. There was another one that came before that. Eve does all the music for that, and she's just incredible. So I was writing with Eve, and I was always trying to get in on a writing session with her, because I knew she did a lot of writing for film and television. And that's one way of getting your foot in the door, is co-writing with someone that's already established in that world.
Right.
And it was really tough to get a writing session scheduled with her for film and television. But she called me one day. She said, I'm writing for a jewelry commercial. It was K Jewelers. They were looking for another alternate jingle to their, Every Kiss Begins with K. So she was looking for ideas, and she called me up. She says, hey, I've been working on a bunch of pitch ideas. Would you want to come in and kind of throw your hat in the ring on this campaign, see what we can come up with? And I said, yeah, of course. So writing for K Jewelers wasn't my dream to be doing that day. Not that it's bad, because those things can pay very well and be great. But I really wanted to write for film and television with Eve. And so I figured this is going to be my best shot to get in regardless. So I go
Right.
there, we're writing, and she keeps taking phone calls in the middle of our writing session, and she's super apologetic about it. She's like, I'm so sorry. It's ABC. I'm working on some stuff with them. It's the music library. They're calling me. I got to take this. And so she would like disappear for 5-10 minutes, and she'd come back and she'd be like, I'm so sorry. Okay, where were we? And we would like, right. And then she'd get another phone call, and she'd kind of have to walk in the back and take her phone call. So I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna write like an idea, a really quick idea, and just when she gets off the phone, I'm gonna play it for her, and maybe, just maybe, she'll like it, and maybe it's something she'll want to work on another time or something like that. So I write the quickest song that I've ever written in my life. I write it, the whole thing. I wrote it in like probably 10 minutes. So by the time she gets off the phone, I've got the whole verse, chorus, the whole thing. And I play her the song. I said, Eve, do you mind if I just play you this song really quick? I was just working on this thing. I know it's different than what we were doing today. I play it for her. She's like, that's cool. Yeah. Let's just record that in my Pro Tools session, just so we have it, and maybe we'll work on it later. I was like, great. That's awesome. So I do like a little session real quick and record the vocal and the guitar part. And that was the last I'd heard about it. I think she even said before we left, she's like, yeah, if we ever work on it or something, we'll do a 50-50 split if you're okay with it. I'll do all the production and whatever. No promises, but maybe I'll call you and we'll finish this thing up. Cool. So this is like 2 or 3 months later. I'm at home and I start getting all these text messages from people that are like, I think I heard your voice on a soap opera today. It's like, oh, okay, that's
No
weird.
way.
And so I find out that the song had been placed in the music library, which is just, it's a bank of music that music supervisors can dig into when they're looking for a specific track, a specific vibe for a scene. And so the music supervisors for the show found this song and thought this would be a good match for 2 characters in General Hospital. I never really watched the show until after my song was placed, and I started watching, but Maxie and Spinelli. So they were like this on again, off again couple for many, many years. And the moment that they really connect on the show, they play this song that we wrote called Close Your Eyes and Wander.
Close your eyes and wander.
After that, which I thought was incredible as it was neat. Like, oh, well, that's cool. Like, that's my song. People were calling me about it. It was also incredible how the General Hospital fans found this song, because my name, there's no credits, there's no Shazam at that moment, or even if there was, the song hadn't been recorded and released. Literally nobody knew about this song except Eve, myself, the music library, and now General Hospital fans. So I started within hours, the General Hospital fans had somehow figured that this was my voice. I think I had tweeted about it, and somehow they connected the dots, figured out this was me, and now they're writing me all this kind of stuff. What do you think about Maxine Spinelli? Do you think they're going to get married? Are you going to play at their wedding? I'm like, whoa, slow down. I don't know anything about any of this, but they were very passionate, very involved. I thought, this is cool. And then for weeks, maybe even months, every time they would kiss or go out, or they would play some version of that song in the background. So it was, I think it's called a character piece, where they associate it with a character. In this case, the character is the couple themselves. And so it was just incredible. Every time they would play that song, I would get paid. So I was like, this is awesome, And then I would like follow the show. I wasn't watching it, but I would follow through friends of mine who were fans. It's like, so what happened, today? Oh, well, this happened. And they, they kissed and they went out, and I was like, yes. And then I guess he cheated or she cheated or something happened where they weren't together anymore. Like, wait, no. They're supposed to be together.
They gotta be together so that they can keep falling in love even more to my song.
So I was really heartbroken when they broke up. It was really, I think it was harder on me than anyone else out there. And then that was kind of the end of it. And then about a year or 2 later, they started playing the song again, but it wasn't with
They
Maxi and
started playing it
Spinelli. It was
again.
with
Mhm.
so Spinelli is the guy, right? Spinelli, and I guess he was dating someone else. They would play that song in the background, and the General
Yes.
Hospital fans were
We're
tweeting like,
mad.
they were like, no, 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 this is not how this works. That's Maxi and Spinelli's song. That's not Spinelli and this Hoochie's song. You gotta, and they're even like tweeting the music supervisors and the directors of the show, and I'm like, whoa, whoa, guys, hey, come on, like this song is universal. My music is universal, right? I mean, it's a love
And that
song.
song now is like belongs to them, so I can see that. And also
Yeah, so
being a
people
DJ,
got mad.
I got to tell you something. I did some ballroom sets, and let me tell you, I was like, "Yep, Ernie got to be played."
Yeah,
So
thank you.
I always added your song,
I
always,
appreciate that.
always.
I
And I was
appreciate that.
hoping to be able to tell you that because it meant a lot. That's how much I love your music. I'm also getting a comment from
Sure.
Kit saying, "Love Close Your Eyes and Wander." So good. And
Thank
yes, I
you.
agree. um, Also, another one that I was seeing a post about from yourself was about "I'd Look Good on You."
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, that's another one I'm completely in love with. And I would imagine some of these songs also, the inspiration would basically come from your wife too, right?
Right. I mean, I won't deny that for sure. Um, as a married man, any song you write for a woman is going to be for your wife. But I think there's a little bit of I'll tell you the inspiration for this song. I was involved in a project that I launched called the 52 Songs Club, where I was writing a song a week for a year. I was living in Nashville, and at the time I was really loving this artist named Sean McConnell, and I just love his sound and his songs, and I just was like in a heavy Sean McConnell phase. And I just love how he can paint a picture with the words he's using. And in songwriting or in writing, there's a phrase, show, not tell, which is to, it's kind of obvious, but you want to paint the picture. You want to set the scene. You don't want to spell every single thing out. You want to let the listener create their own picture with the ingredients that you're giving them. And so I
Right.
remember I wrote this song with a guy named Josh Dorr, who's fantastic. And I said, we got to write like a baby making song, because I've had a couple of those types of songs and people seem to react to them. And so I thought, let's write a baby making song. And then I was like, let's write a Sean McConnell-esque baby making song that's kind of like soulful, but kind of country and Josh Dorr. I don't remember who wrote what, but I would imagine Josh really, really carried it lyrically with the picture painting. I walked in on you dancing, clothes scattered on the mattress. You were humming your "Getting Ready"
I mean,
song.
you're
A white
so.
towel, no makeup. Watching you get made up makes me want to stay where we are. It's that like that picture painting is I'm really proud of that, and I think that it's become a song that's been covered by a lot of different artists. um
Yes, I've been seeing
and
that.
yeah, there's an artist on they're really big on TikTok. I mean, I'm just getting into TikTok. I feel like I'm kind of late to the party here, but it's an artist out of Hawaii, and they just did a random cover of this song. They didn't even know it was my song. They had covered a cover, another artist named David Grace. So they
Wow.
didn't even realize it was my song until I told them. I said, I wrote this song. But by the time I had found it, it had like, a couple million streams already. So it's pretty wild that the music gets out there and sort of has legs of its own. But I think the fact that the lyric is so invoking, like with imagery, is
Yeah.
encouraging, and it makes me think, man, I need to write more like that. That was really validating. Like this is what writing should be. So yeah, even though it is
Mm.
imaginative, of course I think about my wife. I would hope anyone listening thinks about their present or maybe future, partner or past partner, however you want. But it's whoever you want it to be about, and it's the scene that you paint given the ingredients that we give you.
it's also definitely a credit to your talent, the fact that somebody can latch on to one of your songs without even knowing that you were the one that wrote it.
Yeah, it's pretty
You
wild.
know, I
This
mean,
this
it's the way things flow out that is kind of like, wow.
I mean, I as a musician, I can understand like there's lots of songs I love that I don't know the writers for. Maybe even songs that I've covered, having no idea who the original writers are. I'm more mindful of it now, but as a writer, when someone covers my song and doesn't give me, at least credit for it, it makes me like, hey man, like I don't have hardly anything going on TikTok. This artist, Mowley, they've got tons and tons of followers on TikTok. Just a mention would have been like really nice. And I'm not like I'm not mad that the music is getting out there. I feel very honored. But like
Yeah,
this
I
that
get that though.
selfish part of me that's like, man, oh, I wish they would have mentioned, like I had a song that was on Britain's Got Talent last year that has, upwards of almost 300 million views combined. And I would say only maybe 0.5% of those views know anything about me, know that I wrote that song. So, because it was another
Oh
artist
my
that had sang it on
God.
the show. So it's hard because I want people to like, I would love
Mm-hmm.
that boost that, it's not so much the ego, but just as an independent artist, any little bit of publicity and visibility helps. So that's a huge opportunity, and I wish that more people knew that I wrote that song. But
Well,
always
yeah,
a
they're your
bridesmaid, never a bride.
babies. I mean, they come out of, some
They are
big
my
love for
babies.
music, and those are just as much your babies. I can totally get that.
Oh, lost
I
you.
have another
Are you there?
question coming up from
Oh no,
Justin, who says, I have a question for him.
you're
What advice would you give for
muted.
somebody that's wanting to
I
take up
can't hear you.
music for a living? And what
Okay, there
advice
you
would
are.
you
I
give?
can hear you now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got a question coming in from Justin. He wants to know what advice you would give to somebody who's wanting to take up music for a living.
For anyone that wants,
For somebody who's wanting to take up music for a living.
awesome. All right, I
Uh
can hear
oh.
you now. Can you hear me?
Okay, perfect.
I think there might be a delay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, yeah,
Let's making sure. Not see hear me now?
yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, we're back. I
There
lost
we
you for a
go.
minute. What advice would I give to someone? I would say the best advice I could give is to show up every day. And this is advice that I have to remind myself of. It's it's not like a normal job where you show up, you spend an hour, you get paid X amount. It's a job where you show up, you have no idea if you're ever going to see any reward or any gain for the
Right.
time that you're putting in. You show up with writing, with practicing, um, and with getting out there, with playing songs for people, whether it's an open mic or whether it's putting a song on the internet, or it's very tempting when there's so much noise and so much competition, uh, to just feel like you're just putting a drop in the bucket. But to show up consistently, I think, is really the key, because you don't really know what effect, what gain that might have until it's like the guy who sang on Britain's Got Talent. I have no idea. I put that song, I recorded it literally in my friend's kitchen. I put a very rough recording of it on Spotify. I think it had maybe like 1,000 streams, and one of them was that guy, and he performed that on the show. And from that, there was a lot more people that heard that song. So you really just never know who's listening, and you're just always improving your skills, always improving your craft. That is something that can't be understated. If you don't have anything to offer, then it doesn't really matter what kind of publicity, what kind of opportunities you have. You need to have the skills to back it up, and those skills take time to cultivate. And if you're focused purely on the results right away, you'll probably get frustrated and you'll probably give up. And so the ability to just do it for the love of doing it itself, write songs because you like writing, play music because you like playing. If you do that consistently, things will follow. But if you get frustrated because you're not seeing results fast enough, then you probably give up before you ever get the chance to really see the benefit of your hard work. So I hope that makes sense.
It does. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot, and then I'm going to ask you about something in your personal life that I know is pretty cool too. But the first question I want to ask you now, I'm going to put you on the spot. Out of all the songs you've written, all you babies, you know what's coming. Which one's your fave?
Well, that would have been a really hard question to answer before the song that I wrote for my daughters. I think that is by far the song that I'm most proud of, not just because of who it's for, but because it was honest songwriting. A lot of times as songwriters, there's a temptation to write something you think people are going to like. And that one was purely for me. I wrote that with Caitlin Clampett. So the two of us wrote that together, but my perspective, my contribution for it, I've got this picture. I got to find it. It's a picture I took of my daughter, one of them. She's wearing this like ballerina kind of costume, and she's twirling, dancing in our living room, and she's right next to this table which my wife had painted with chalkboard paint, and that's the table that they would like draw on and stuff. And that memory, that visual is so specific and so burned into my brain that when I sing that song, there's a line, a daddy's little girl, precious little angel, dancing in the living room and drawing on the table, like that. For some reason, it's like it's the most emotional line to me because I can see it so clearly, even though they're super grown up now. That's just something that I'll never forget. And so to me, that's my favorite song, just because it's the most meaningful.
I knew that was going to probably be it, but I thought, that is so gorgeous. I love it. You've also recently become a pilot.
I have, yeah. I've it's not really recently. I guess recently is relative, but I got my license about 3, maybe 4 years ago. I had started taking lessons about 15 years ago, but it's really expensive. It's very time consuming, but it's really just money consuming. And so it took me a long time to finally just get it done. Then when we were living in Tennessee. I had an opportunity. There was an airport that was kind of nearby, and I started taking lessons again. And then I finished, I got my license, and then I rented, maybe once a month, I would scrounge together some money and I'd rent an airplane, but I wasn't flying very often, just too expensive. And then a friend of mine had convinced me to buy an airplane, which I thought was insane because, just like rich people buy airplanes like this. But, there's a lot of airplanes that are like, what a car costs, like an average car. And so, they're old. They're like 1950s, 1960s, no frills. Seats are all torn up. Looks kind of rickety, but safe. And so I bought a little 4-seater single engine airplane. And then I started flying it to gigs and realizing how useful it can be as a way of getting around. Then I sold that airplane. I bought something a little faster. And that I can get a little further with. So I'll fly to New York City. I'll fly to Detroit. I'll fly to Florida. I'll fly to Texas, like wherever, pretty much anywhere within, I don't know, I would say east of the Mississippi is pretty much fair game. But it's been extremely beneficial as a songwriter to be able to travel that way. It's, I can fly somewhere and fly back in the same day where I couldn't do that driving.
Good, you're gonna have to come play here in Timmins sometime.
Yeah, for sure. I hate to do this,
on that.
but I've got to run. But I really appreciate you having me on today. This has been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much. It has been such an honor, and I can't even thank you enough for gracing me with this time. I so appreciate it.
My
Have a
pleasure.
great rest of your day, and thank you so much. And everybody, go look up his music, Ernie Halter.
Please
Go
do.
look it up.
Thank you so
Have
much,
a
Cindy,
good
for
one.
giving me an opportunity to talk with you. And sorry, I gotta run. It's a busy day, but I'm glad we were able to make some time
No,
for
it
this.
was so interesting, and I'll be watching out for anything new that you put out. You know I'm gonna play it. So have a
Awesome.
good one.
Cindy, thank you so
Thanks.
much, and thanks to your listeners as well. Appreciate it.